Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. We'll begin with our top stories. The lifeless body of a woman was discovered this Tuesday morning at the Santa Barbara neighborhood in Yaoundé, killed and dumped by the roadside. The remains of the 38-year-old lady in a pathetic state with blood oozing from the different parts of her body. Some young women in frantic efforts to be fashionable and flow with trends proposed by the social media have embraced plastic surgery. This is not to solve a heart problem, but to reshape some of their body parts to suit the tastes of men. In Fumbot West region of Cameroon, a family is still mourning one of theirs as she succumbed to death to deep wounds sustained in the course of an amateurish cosmetic plastic surgery. We'll talk about that in this edition of Newscast, and we equally tell you the story of a 45-year-old woman of Nigerian origin who has beaten the records by giving birth to 9 babies, though based in Cameroon. Her antenatals and a delivery happened at the General Hospital Oron in Akwa Ibom State in Nigeria, and she only returned to Cameroon some days back. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. The lifeless body of a woman was discovered this Tuesday morning at the Santa Barbara neighborhood in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, killed and dumped by the roadside. The remains of the 38-year-old lady in a pathetic state with blood oozing from the different parts of her body. More on the story with our reporter, Hyson Cha.
Inhabitants of the Santa Barbara neighborhood in Yaoundé woke up this morning to witness this sad and heartless situation. They watched in disbelief the lifeless body of Patricia Chuisimbianda, brutally murdered and dumped by this roadside. The remains of the 38-year-old lady discovered at about 6 a.m. by a denizen who was out for his traditional morning sports. And informed of the circumstances, the nearby gendarmerie elements of the Tudi Brigade rushed to the scene, identified her through the national identity card beside the corpse as an accountant by profession who lives at the Nkuzwa neighborhood. Dressed in blue clothes, there was blood all over her body, an indication that she was possibly stabbed to death. And of all the early shocked lookers this Tuesday morning, none could recognize the woman, an indication that the perpetrators may have picked her from far to this locality. The forces of law and order noting all visible elements as preliminary evidence to crack down the killers. The family, after getting the news on social media, later got to the site but couldn't get the corpse, which has been taken to the Yaoundé Central Hospital mortuary under the control of the State's Council for proper investigations to hunt down the culprits behind the assassination.
Some young women in a frantic efforts to be fashionable and flow with trends proposed by the social media have embraced plastic surgery. This is not to solve a health problem, but to simply reshape some of their body parts to suit the taste of men. In Fumbot or West region of Cameroon, a family is still mourning one of theirs as he should succumb to deep wounds sustained in the course of an amateurish cosmetic plastic surgery. Medics hold that redesigning body contours through plastic surgery is not at all an easy ride. More with our reporter, Saleh Sharifa.
Cosmetic plastic surgery is mostly carried out to adjust some body parts to reinforce beauty, elegance, and self-confidence. There are many plastic surgery procedures that men and women get into to change a certain aspect of their appearance. Sometimes the exercise generates complications, especially for women, that can lead to death.
That woman will get pregnant, but the baby will be like a rat. because the baby will not have enough space to grow. So such women, such procedures are not good for women who are still having babies. I don't do that for such a woman.
Due to all those consequences,
A 45-year-old woman of Nigerian origin who has beaten the records by giving birth to 9 babies. Though based in Cameroon, her antenatals and delivery happens at the General Hospital Orun in Akwa Ibom State in Nigeria. She only returned to Cameroon some days back with her 9 babies more in the following story. It is on this bed and in this bedroom that the 9 babies, 6 girls and 3 boys, sleep all day with their mother, flanked by other family members, keeping an eye on them all day and night.
I didn't program to give birth to 9 children. It was a surprise and is a stressful thing to me. But in anything, we have to thank God.
Madu Antonia Ombianuju gave birth to the noduplex at the age of 45. She is a Nigerian national who have lived in Cameroon for decades.
It took me 14 years before taking in and give birth to them. Then now it took me another 13 years to give birth to this one. So it's a miracle.
Madu tells me how she had gone through thick and thin to mother more babies.
I have gone many hospitals here in Cameroon, even a general hospital. I have gone and done. There is the one they call laparoscopy. All these things I've done it. Yes, I have my everything. Nothing. I traveled to America. Nothing. I traveled to UK. Nothing. I traveled to India. I stayed like 11 months at India. When I got pregnant, it goes out. When I got pregnant, it goes out. So. It didn't work. It's when I'm about to come back at India, there is the medication they give me, which I came back and I tried it. I got my first issue.
She explains what she opted for after several trials and disappointments.
We did IVF. We transferred 5 embryos, which resulted to 9 this day. But normally before all the IVF we are doing, we used to try to transfer 3, 4, but none of them is maturing, none of them is going on. So this time around, we said, well, let's try 5. Even if 2 die, we can have 3 baby or 2 baby. The way God made this, he just want to surprise us, just make it 9. We are surprised.
We question her choice of Nigeria for antenatals when she was based in Cameroon with her husband.
I was pregnant at Nigeria. I stayed like 2 months before I came back to Cameroon. So in time to time, I used to go to Nigeria, come back.
She spent 15 hours at the labor room at the General Hospital, Orun, in Akwa Ibom State, where she gave birth to the 9 babies.
The delivery started in the morning at 10 in the morning, ended in the night. But it doesn't mean that I gave birth immediately. So when this one come out, the first one that come out is the boy.
Coming back to Cameroon, Madu says her life now revolves around the babies.
All these people are from our family. They came to help.
The first are weightier than the others.
Only 4 is big. 5 is very tiny that you cannot hold because they rush them to the incubator immediately.
It should be noted the couple of Nigerian nationality have been residents in Cameroon for over 2 decades. And in prelude to the celebration of African Traditional Medicine Day on August 31, a 10-day evaluation session started yesterday at the National Museum with the aim of flushing out quacks in the domain and protecting doctors with different medicine to the spotlight, an occasion to honor the integral role ethno-medication in the health and welfare of the population. Under the theme God's gifts are free, food should be a medicine. Hyacinth Chair and students journalist Paloma Sama visited some of the stands and puts the rest in the following story.
Prior to the introduction of cosmopolitan medicine, Traditional medicine used to be the dominant medical system available to millions of people in Africa in both rural and urban communities. But today, many have relegated such traditional medications to the background in favor of foreign medicine, an attitude the traditional doctors lament over.
Our forefathers, they lived long. It was because of the traditional medicine. Why is it that they will promote Indian medicine? They will promote China medicine, but they cannot talk of Cameroon medicine. And China, they don't have no forest, but they come to harvest from our forest, and when they go, they develop their drugs, and they come and they sell, and we take these drugs. It disconnects us from our ancestors.
Bringing Cameroonians back to their roots is a major concern of holders of intangible knowledge and divinatory arts. Reason for the 10 days evaluation of the competencies of people who call themselves traditional doctors.
Each and every doctor is going to be here, and the doctor will be presenting his own traditional medicine, so we could get to know what we have in Cameroon.
Traditional medicine, also known as ethno-medicine, is the oldest
Hepatic ABC, I use 1 month for treatment. This hemorrhoic men that are not having anything is 1 week. All spiritual problems. If you want to know who you are, I can tell you who you are.
The African Traditional Medicine Day shall be commemorated on August 31st at the National Museum in Yaoundé, a forum to project the traditional medicine to the spotlight.
And barely 2 weeks to the 2023-2024 academic year, the country's security situation is to be scrupulously checked in order to give a reassurance to parents and students. The focus of the special assessment meeting by the ministerial delegates at the presidency in charge of defense with structures in charge of security and intelligence issues this Tuesday in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. More with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamu.
On Monday, September 4, 2023, pupils like students will be back to school all over the national territory, while those of higher institutions of learning will follow suit. Mobilization is rife by parents to give this particular moment in the life of the children and nation its full significance, despite the difficult environment and impact on the economy.
The government has taken appropriate measures to ensure an effective start to the new school year by mobilizing all actors in the education system nationwide, despite serious demobilization campaigns reported in certain parts of the country.
A priority situation here is that of security. How safe is all the 10 regions of Cameroon, especially the crisis-ridden Northwest, Southwest, and far north?
2 weeks to this important social milestone, it was logical and appropriate that we look into it in order to reassure the entire national education family, regardless of their particular security situation.
The last academic year, 2022-2023, saluted as far as security issues are concerned. The special assessment meeting on the security situation of the country prior to the 2023-2024 academic year by the Minister of Defense brought the Minister of Territorial Administration, Secretary of State of Defense in charge of National Gendarmerie and that of ex-servicemen, Delegate General for National Security, other senior officers of state administration and structures in charge of security and intelligence issues this Tuesday in Yaoundé.
The 15 BRICS Summit is set to take place in Santum, Johannesburg from August 22 to the 24, 2023. In the following report, our reporter Kejang Henry Atembe tells us more.
Prime Minister Joseph Dion Ngute is representing Cameroon at the BRICS Summit holding in Johannesburg, South Africa from August 22 to 24. Holding under the theme BRICS and Africa, the 15th BRIC diplomatic bloc, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, will also see the participation of representatives from some 67 nations. Russia's President Vladimir Putin, who has an international arrest warrant on his head, will participate via video conference. Joseph Dion Ngute is accompanied by the Minister Delegate to the Ministry of Economy, amongst others. For a first-time participant at the summit, it is speculated that the country will use the opportunity to make a case for investment opportunities in Cameroon, as well as focus on strengthening cooperation ties between the country and the BRICS bloc, which aims to offer a financial alternative to the hegemony of the Bretton Woods institutions, including the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. Cameroon currently enjoys buoyant, multifaceted and diverse relations with the BRIC member countries. In terms of imports, China is Cameroon's leading supplier with 17% share of the import market. India ranks third with 7.2% market share. Russia ranks fourth, while South Africa ranks fourth amongst African exporters to Cameroon, according to the National Institute of Statistics. Amongst the topics on the agenda in Johannesburg are the membership applications of 23 countries, including Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Iran, Argentina, Ethiopia, Senegal, Algeria and Egypt, who wish to join the club. The BRICS represent 42% of the world's population, that is 3.2 billion people in the world, and around 25% of global GDP. Moreover, this BRICS meeting comes just a few weeks after the second Russia-African summit, which aimed to boost relations between Vladimir Putin's country.
And in Mali, the price of goods are increasing in Timbuktu, northern Mali, due to jihadist invasion. Roads have been blocked by the jihadist group for several days now, stopping goods from entering into the town. We'll bring you updates in our subsequent editions of Newscast. These international updates were compiled by our students, interns, Aisha Tawa. And that brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal to International. Thanks so much for watching. We are coming back tomorrow for the same edition. Goodbye.